Okay, let's talk Manchester United. I've been debating doing this for a little bit, and I think it's the first day I could be able to do it. So last Wednesday was interesting, wasn't it? Man United lost to Europa League to Spurs last week on Wednesday. I'm recording this on a Tuesday, so 6 days afterwards, and I think it's time to let's talk about Manchester United. So this season has been a utter disaster from start to finish. Where Eric Ten Hag, he won the FA Cup last season, and he stayed on as Man United manager. And I think most fans probably would have gone, yeah, he won the FA Cup. Let's give him some time, etc., etc. And the signings we made were decent signings. Mazwari's been good since he came in. De Ligt's been good since he came in. Euro didn't feature under Ten Hag, but uh, he's played like under Amrin and he's been good. Xerxes came in, started off horribly, but he's kind of gained some sort of momentum and it's been a decent player for us. But we're shit. There's no other way to say it than Manchester United Football Club on the pitch, even off the pitch, are shambles at the moment. But at the moment, you got to look at it and go, if you're a Man United fan, you got to go, what's next? What can next season bring us? What can the club do to make this better? And there's elements of the club that it's hard to watch as a United fan, like how they're letting staff go, how they've been treating the women's team. Like I think they haven't gave them any love at all. Um, the just some of the decisions that the club make, like budget cuts in terms of bringing staff to the final, for example, they didn't. I don't think there was like a rumor that the staff couldn't go or something like that, or they couldn't bring family members. I can't remember what the rumor is, but it's just stuff that we weren't doing before. And I know the club is hemorrhaging money at the moment, but we have owners. I know everyone thinks of Jim Radcliffe, but he's a minority owner. You can put co-owner next to his name. He's the minority owner of Manchester United Football Club, and he's in charge of basically the running of the club of Manchester United. The Glazers aren't doing now; they're doing nothing but staying in America, just taking money from the club, even though they've put us into massive amount of debts. Um, they haven't done anything to clear it or anything like that, and they're a big reason why Manchester United are in the position that they are. They've took over in 2005, and let's be honest, Fergie and the team that they had at that time held that club up. Fergie had his hands and he's just in every pocket, like just transfers and coaching, and he just knew everything about the club because he's been there so long. And in 2013, I think I've got that right. When Dave Moyes took over, I think the walls started coming down a bit. He didn't get backed, not properly anyway, by the Glazers. They brought in Marouane Fellaini. Um, didn't just not the signings they needed at that point. You had a lot of players aging. You had just you could see you look at back at it now and you look at the team Fergie won with Man United and you go, wow, that wouldn't win the league now probably. You look at it and go, there's no chance. You had Tom Cleverley in the lineup, for example. Like he just doesn't scream to you Premier League winner, does he? Or starting 11 Premier League winner. But I'm pretty sure that season he played a lot of football, if I remember correctly. You got to look at what we've done in the last 15 years, and you got to look at that and go, it's been coming. It's been coming. We've been on this slow decline now for a long time. We just at the time where we were still winning Premier Leagues and we won a Champions League during in between 2005 and 2012, 2013. And even when we didn't win the league, we were close enough to it that you could say we challenged. We won cups as well, and yeah, Fergie was still a force. He still earned the respect of the players. We had Ronaldo, we had Rooney, Tevez, Berbatov. You had all this great attacking threats. Even like sort of Ashley Young at the time was playing really well. I remember when we won 8-2, he was fantastic that game. You had Nani, who was a really good player. You had a back line of like Ferdinand, Vidic, Evra, fucking Neville. And then you had Van der Sar behind him. And then when we got a new goalkeeper eventually, we got De Gea, who paid off. He was a player of the season for like 3 or 4 times. I know that shouldn't be the case for a goalkeeper, but you know, we signed him under Fergie and he's came good. But you kind of look at that and then you start looking at the wages. And obviously with world football and how it was going at the time, everything was just going berserk, wasn't it? It was going bonkers. Real Madrid buying Bale for over 100 million, I think it was. Neymar going to PSG for like 220 million. Like the financials of football was going a bit absurd, but United weren't helping themselves. So if we look back at the Sanchez deal, probably in my opinion the worst deal Manchester United Football Club has ever made, ever. And it's not because the transfer fee or anything like that. It's purely because the wages. So you look at that deal, and I think we gave them Mkhitaryan. I don't know if it was a swap deal or if the club's just done. All right, you buy a player, we buy your player, because swap deals are very complex to do. So I think majority of the time clubs just agree to sell players to each other, and that's just the way, if you would, a swap deal will incur. But United bought Alexis Sanchez, and his wages was what 400, maybe more, grand a week, and that just broke her financial structure. And De Gea looks at it and goes, "Yeah, well, I've been your best player for years. Why am I not earning, if not 400, maybe close around that point?" And then you look at what happened afterwards, and look at all the signings we've brought in and how ridiculous their wages have been. I know Marcus is on a lot of money. Like we bought in Sancho and just fucking didn't let him earn his wages. We just you done well at Dortmund for a couple of seasons. You're 22 or whatever at the time when we bought him. I can't remember how old he was at the time, but he was still very young. It's like, where do you go from here? You're already on. I want to say it was maybe 300. We offered him 250 to 300 grand a week for a 22-year-old, and the financial structure of the club has been a joke ever since that Sanchez deal, really. Uh, and it's just been a downfall, and we've been hemorrhaging money, we've been losing money. The Glazers are just taking money left, right, and centre, and now in a predicament now where we've got less money because we didn't win Europa League final, which is, you got to look at the silver lining. Look, there's no point moping about it and going, what it could have been, blah 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 blah. You've got to look at it now and go, all right, that's done. What can we do next season to make this club be what it used to be, or going towards that way? Because it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to take 5 years. It might take 10 years. It might take more. And you look at the players that we got, and you go, you might look at the first team. You might go, it's not too bad. It's not too bad. But then you look more in depth, and you go, have we got an attacking lineup can get us more than 50 goals a season? And we can't. Can't say that. Anthony has done well at Betis. He has. If he comes back in this squad, he will probably get 5 league goals or 5 goals in all comps, or something along them lines. Where he's been getting I think he got like 24 in terms of goals and assists for Real Betis since he's joined in January, which is absurd. But maybe that league just suits him. He might have an extra second on the ball to cut in, and that might just suit him. Rashford, he doesn't want to be here. He does want to be here, and he wasn't bad this season by any stretch of the imagination. If anything, he was a lot better than the season before. But he doesn't want to be here. There's no point in him staying if he doesn't want to be here. If the manager and him don't get on, he doesn't see him in his tactics, doesn't see him in his plans. Let's just do the best thing for Rashford, because he needs to be happy, because he looks like a guy that's very deep in thought. He needs to be happy. Let him go play football where he wants to. He's done what he can for the club, and you got to respect that. You got to let him go. Sancho, if he comes back in the squad, he's just going to cause issues. Him on social media, the whole freedom fighter stuff. Um, it, I don't think any Man United fan would want him back at all. He needs going. He wouldn't. I don't think he gets you goals and assists. There was like a stat I saw. I don't know if it was made up or what. He hasn't completed a cross in months. You know, and Chelsea are a top four side this season, and you haven't completed a cross all season long, or near enough all season. So he comes in, he's not very good. And then you like look at it, Hoyland, Tanks. I don't know if he's just played too much football this season, but he's been shit. He's been awful this season. He's got like under 10 goals, all comps, all season, and he just doesn't look any good at all. He's fighting defenders and he's just not making intelligent runs. And when he does, the players don't trust him anymore because he's lost the trust of the team around him because he's not capitalising on anything. He looks slow, he looks lethargic. He doesn't look strong in challenges and duels because he's what 6'2", and I don't think he's dual win success rate is probably less than 20%. He's not been good enough. He's got enough pace about him. He's got enough tenacity and strength. You think it'd be perfect. You look at Victor Gyokeres for Ruben, and he was getting loads of goals. And his game, he's very strong. He's very quick, but there's something missing in Hoyland's play, and I don't know if he needs to be like a backup player or even if he needs a loan out. But if you loan him out, who you got? Xerxes not a striker. Chido Obi's 17. You can't rely on him. And then you look at our attacking midfielders, or if you look at the 2-10 roles, if you would, Garnacho's like low key had a decent campaign for his age because he's 20 years of age. He like you can't if he was 25 and still putting these numbers out, you can make an argument that he's you know not done well enough, but he's gotten a good amount of goals and assists. But in the league, you can look at that if you separate that from all competitions, he hasn't been good enough. And his attitude has been an issue for Ruben Amorim in the past, and now it's after that final, it's resurfaced again. And if you look at that, maybe he needs to go. Maybe he funds a transfer where the club could look at other players because obviously we're getting Cunha in. Well, it's pretty much near enough done. Probably like 90% sure that Cunha will be a Manchester United player next season. Maybe we sell Garnacho, and because that'd be pretty much pure profit at that point. Because I think we bought him from Atletico Madrid for £500,000 to get into our academy because we rated him that highly. Maybe you get 50, 60 million pounds for Garnacho with bonuses and installments and stuff like that, maybe. And you reinvest that money. You look at this squad, what does it need? I think in terms of centre backs, I think we're okay because you got to look at the whole transfer budget as a whole and go, this is not a problem area. And I think it's you're not going to be able to in this transfer window to solve all the issues you can see now. So obviously, I think my personal opinion that the attacking front is why we're so lackluster because I think we've underperformed XG wise all season long. I think if XG is 1, we've scored probably half that. You know, so we haven't been good in that front. So I think a striker is a must. I think them tens are a must because I don't think I think Bruno's going to play in one of the 6 positions, even though he doesn't do what Ruben was doing at Sporting. He still kind of made it work with the way he passes the ball and how he progresses the ball, the over top balls he plays into the attackers. I mean, if you watch the game against Aston Villa, I think he got the assist for the Ahmad goal. How does Ahmad fit in the system? Because he could be one of the tens, but he also could play right wing back because he gets so far up the pitch anyway, and he cuts in like what Quenda does for Sporting Lisbon. So if you ask me, he can not play both roles, but he's an option for both roles. I in an ideal world, in terms of who we sign in, he'd be my right wing back, and that's my personal opinion. But that's striker, tens, and then a goalkeeper would probably be the third most important position to fill next season. Even though I think Onana's been, the first season you got to give him grace, but second season he's been shit. He's been awful. Um, he made himself he made himself look like a right twat during the exchange with Matic in the Lyon game. He's just, look, I've won a trophy. You've never won a trophy with Manchester United. Um, it's just the arrogance from him for a goalkeeper that doesn't warrant it. He's lost 3 European finals with 3 different clubs. Like, that's exceptional. Like, obviously, the only one that you can say that was his fault per se, well, not even his fault, but he had a part in why we did win that final, was the Man United one against Tottenham, where it's probably a 50-50 chance of winning. He's been an issue, you know. I think before the game, a lot of people were saying it depends on which goalkeeper actually shows up today, and it shouldn't be that case. You should be able to rely on your goalkeeper to some extent, and you don't rely on Andre Onana, and hopefully he goes in the summer. So if we get a new goalkeeper in, I'm not sure who that will be. There's been talks of the Espanyol goalkeeper and stuff like that. Mike Yan, how you pronounce it, from AC Milan's been quoted for £20 million. Been linked with Emi Martinez. Any of them would be an improvement on Andre Onana. And if you can sell him to maybe buy Leverkusen, because Eric Ten Hag's there now, or if you can get rid of him and ship him off to Saudi, whatever works. You need to get him out of the club. I'd also get rid of Bayindir, to be fair, as well. I don't think he's nowhere near good enough. Even as a backup, I don't think he's good enough. I would probably, if you can't find a backup goalkeeper, I would either get one of the youth players to come up, or I'd have Tom Heaton be a backup goalkeeper, because even though he's 38, 39 years of age, he's better than Bayindir. Bayindir is terrible. And I don't know if you've got the money and the funds to get a backup goalkeeper on top of getting a first team goalkeeper. That's a problem area, goalkeeper. But the attacking midfielders, obviously the 2 10s. Let's just call them 2 10s, because they're not really attacking midfielders, but not really wingers either. They're like wide forwards, I suppose, or left forward, right forward, if you want to go down that route. Cunha's been linked for Manchester United ever since like March, April time, really, isn't it? Maybe even beyond that. If you get him in, which I think would be a good signing, he's got more goals than most of nearly all attackers altogether. So get him in. He improves that team. I would also get Brian Mbeumo from Brentford, because he's on the last year of his deal. You could probably get a decent offer accepted there. And then you look at the striker position. Like, I know we've been linked with Liam to that. Maybe he's not the guy. But if you can scrape enough funds together and really look at what we need someone that can guarantee us like at least 15 Premier League goals. So I'd look at that, and I think that's what you got to look at next season, and you got to prioritise the Premier League. And yeah, it's going to be a difficult season. So, new goalkeeper, maybe a wing back, but I think that's only if you've got an extra 20-30 million to spend. Maybe another midfielder, but if you don't have that, again, not a priority. So you need a new goalkeeper. You need probably 2 10s, and then at least one, maybe 2 strikers. So that's a lot, especially with what we have at the club. So you got to rely on the selling players. So you got to rely on us selling Rashford, Sancho, Anthony, Onana, and hopefully that funds our summer. So yeah, I think that's what they have to look at next. We need to prioritise the Premier League. The Carabao Cup, I would probably rotate the hell out of. Focus on that and the FA Cup, because the FA Cup is more prestigious. And if you get on the later stages of the Carabao, maybe you start playing first team footballers and try and go for it. Because if you win any sort of cup you get a European spot. So if we finish 8th, which is just outside of the Conference League, I think Conference League will be 7th. Then at least we have another route back into Europe. Because next season, I don't think we have the right to really say that we can get Champions League football next season, because I don't think we will. I don't think we're good enough. But let's just try and build. Let's support the manager and go for a top 6 finish, maybe top 7, and try and win one of the cups. Primarily try and prioritise the FA Cup, play the a rotated side in early stages, maybe of both competitions or just the Carabao. Start using youth players as well. We need to, on the bench, we need to implement more youth players. Hopefully in pre-season we can get a lot of them on board, like Jack Morehouse and Shay Lacey. Use Harry Amas more. There's a few more as well. I think Football Scoop, who's on Stretford Paddock, he has a lot of insight on who's good and who probably needs a bit more time in the youth setup. But yeah, I think that's the next stage. Next season, it's not going to magically click back together and we're going to be top 4. And then season after that, we might go for the league. It's going to be a long road. So maybe next season, like I said, top 8, maybe a cup. And then we keep supporting the manager, see the improvements. And then the season after that, when we've sort of identified what needs improving after these signings here, then we can start looking at maybe getting Champions League football again. But anyway, that's I've gone a bit over the top in terms of time. I was going to plan for this to be about 10 minutes, but I kind of went into the history of why this club's been so shit ever since 2005 with the Glazers, and the wages and just the financial decisions that we've just ballsed up, and just the transfers not backing managers. Like with David Moyes, I think it was evident of what our future would be looking at in our 2020 vision, or whatever the saying is. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's just it might be a one-off. I might do more Manchester United content just as a club, not in like any sort of FIFA career modes or anything like that, or Football Manager career modes and stuff like that. It just might be a one-off. I might do some more. It depends on the feedback I get, or I've enjoyed speaking about it. If I've got more to say, maybe I'll do another one. Who knows? Anyway, if you do please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. All right, thank you very much. Peace.